Well, Harry, we're beginning to see the effects of Gustav roll on through. The wind and the rain, of course, a concern. The levees all along this coastline, this Gulf coastline, it's the elevation of the land that's the major concern. Will they be able to hold back the flooding? The good news is most of the people are now gone. We'll have much more ahead on this. In the meantime, Maggie, let's send it to you in St. Paul.
Dave, thank you. I am at the Xcel Energy Center, which is set up for a grand celebration that will no longer happen as planned. There's a stage that will not see as many speakers. There are chairs that will not seat as many delegates, since some from the Gulf states will not be here for the convention. Ahead this morning, we will speak with First Lady Laura Bush. President Bush has canceled his appearance here tonight, but she is here and she will join me for a live interview in a few moments. But first, let's send it back to Harry in New Orleans.
All right, Maggie, as we say, the weather is really starting to deteriorate here, has really started to fall apart in just, say, the last 45 minutes or so. Let us give you this storm by the numbers as we know it right now. Gustav, a Category 3 storm with sustained winds of about 115 miles per hour. The good news is this morning, not strengthening as of this moment. Landfall is expected soon in New Orleans. Of course, the biggest concern and all along the coastal areas is storm surge. If the storm surge comes over, that can breach those levees, and that's when the flooding happens. The most amazing part of the story is the evacuation. Nearly 2 million people have left the Gulf Coast area, and the people who have stayed have been warned that they will not be rescued in case of an emergency. Now, we've been monitoring local authorities here this morning. We hear that there are as few as 10,000 people left in New Orleans itself, and that's fewer people than in total were in the Superdome 3 years ago. Dave Price is right where the eye of the storm is headed. He's in Houma, Louisiana, down south and west from where we are right now. Let's find out how it's going down there. Dave.
All right, Harry. Well, the storm at this point, 40 miles south of us, expected to make landfall at Port Fourchon. Now, keep in mind, it's about 100 miles from you in New Orleans. The bad news for New Orleans right now, you're going to be on the east side of the storm. That's the strong side of the storm. Now, the concern here in a place like Houma is that we're just about 7 feet above sea level. High risk for a community like this, but this time they were prepared. The streets are now empty in Houma's normally busy downtown after residents were ordered to evacuate over the weekend. A steady stream of cars was visible heading northward. Hospitals airlifted patients to safety, and resident Jody Thomas, who stayed behind when Katrina hit 3 years ago, also got out.
It took my house, it took my RV, it took my pickup, it took everything that we had pretty much. And now we're not going to take any chances.
Still, some residents either refused to leave or waited too long. Dawn Gilcrease dropped her daughter off to head out to relatives while she rides out the storm.
Why are you staying?
Now I think it's kind of too late to leave, so I made sure that my children were going to be safe.
Hoping to avoid the criticism they got for the response time to Hurricane Katrina, officials from the parish to the federal levels acted early, deploying National Guard troops and providing buses for evacuees.
We err on the side of caution, and we try to do the judgment practice of doing things prudently in a timely fashion to keep everybody we can safe as possible all the time.
So, Harry, conditions here are going to continue to diminish over the next several hours as the storm rolls through 40 miles from Port Fourchon right now, and you're going to begin to see the worst of it roll through over the next several hours, and then this is going to be a slow and long and painful day for the people of the Gulf Coast.
Dave, here's my question to you. You've been in a bunch of these hurricanes now. This thing has been steaming in here at a high rate of speed. Folks around here are saying maybe that's good news. Maybe that means it'll hit the coast and break apart faster. Any sense that you have where you are that might be the scenario here?
Well, a couple of things, Harry. Number one, that forward speed, add that to your wind speed. That forward speed is going to push that water up. That's the bad news. The good news is it rolled through rather quickly through the Gulf, didn't get to gain that intensity. Once it went over Cuba, it lost a lot of its form and never gained it back. Now it's going to roll through, but if it stalls over portions of Louisiana inland, there could be major troubles there as well.